Hey, this is Jeffrey Davis from the Fun Times Guide to Living Green, here with Daniel Senden, Director of Sales and Marketing for the Sheraton Atlanta Downtown. Well, I understand that the Sheraton has made a lot of eco-friendly improvements. Tell me a little bit about those.
Sure. We're actually in the process of spending $70 million on a capital improvement project. And a large majority of that is to bring us up to green standards.
I noticed there's a lot of recycling bins, recyclable products in the room,
Sure.
All kinds of obvious eco-friendly
Right.
things happening around the hotel. But what are some things that are going on behind the scenes that the average person might not know about?
It's funny you say that, Jeffrey. We believe that most green things that hotels specifically will do, the guests will never see. I'll give you one example. As part of our process, we're replacing a lot of the mattresses that are in our 760 guest rooms. Now, when you replace a mattress, typically you would, in the old way of doing things, you would throw that mattress away and it would go to a landfill. And what we've done is, because our mattresses are only about 5 years old, they're still perfectly good. So we partnered with a company here in Atlanta that will take those and donate those to homeless shelters, or the less fortunate. So not only does it keep those mattresses out of a landfill, but it also allows us to help those in the community that are in a little bit of need. Another couple of things that we're doing, for example, this pool right behind us here, we've converted it into a saline injection pool. And so rather than being cleaned by chlorine, which is a very, very harsh chemical and terrible for the environment, it allows us to be able to clean the pool actually cleaner than it would be with a chlorine system using a saline injection. Another example is we just spent $700,000 on a new boiler system, which basically means all the hot water that comes into your guest room used to be created by this huge, very inefficient boiler system. And what we've installed now is a very efficient, smaller boiler system that allows us to increase efficiencies by 100%. So there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that, when a guest checks into the hotel, just like you said, they're going to see the recycling bins, they're going to see all the things that are going on, what we call customer-facing stuff. But most of the investment that we're making is behind the scenes, and except for guys like you, people wouldn't know about it. So we appreciate what you do.
Well, I'm very glad to help and to learn about what y'all are doing here in downtown Atlanta. Something else I heard was that all the landscaping is drought tolerant as well. Can you find this kind of green setup, this kind of with the courtyard and the drought tolerant landscaping in any other downtown hotel in Atlanta?
This is the only hotel in all of Atlanta that has the setting that looks like this, that uses drought tolerant landscaping, which obviously saves on not only on water but also on runoff, and also in the water that would be going into sewer, but also that generates live plants like this. So this is part of our regeneration of the atmosphere. As long as we can have live plants and not fake bushes and things like that you typically find in other hotels, we're pretty proud of that.
What was it that inspired, or do you know what it was that inspired the downtown Atlanta Sheraton to involve in this huge greenification of your hotel?
Well, it's a team effort, really. And where it was born out of was we had some very passionate associates here at the hotel. And the rest of us kind of latched onto their passion, and it's really become a lifestyle. It almost becomes second nature. And everything you do, not only do you say, how can you make it efficient and how can you make it profitable, but you say, how can you make it green? And it keeps rolling and rolling. You go out and look for new ways to become more green and become involved in programs. I'll give you an example. Here in Atlanta, we're doing something called the Zero Waste Zone. And what it does is creates a zone in Atlanta where you're endeavoring to create zero waste. So you would have nothing going into landfills. You would compost all the food residuals. And in a hotel of this size, 90,000 square feet of space and almost 800 rooms, the food leftovers are just absolutely incredible.
Sure.
And so you can compost that. In the future, we're hoping to do some things on the roof, make our roof screen, and plant herb gardens up on the roof that the chef could use. So there's a lot of passion that's involved in it, and that's really what it takes to have the programs that we have now and the vision for the future.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to find out about y'all.
Absolutely.
And thanks a bunch for taking the time to meet with me.
My pleasure.